I'm good, and you?
I'm doing well.
That's great.
Fabulous. All right. Well, it's 4:01, so we're going to hop in. There might be some people that join us late. We are diving into last Thursday for our tech training. We were supposed to go over some BAREIS basics. So I'm going to try to give you a quick, speedy overview, dive into BAREIS, and show you a bunch of different features and stuff that it has and ways that you can conduct searches and utilize it to your advantage. So we're doing that today because my flights got all messed up last week. So I missed it. If you have any questions as we go along, please feel free to stop me and ask the question. I do have the chat box up, so I'm keeping an eye on that as well, but you can just interrupt me. If I go a little fast, feel free to holler at me and say, wait, do that again, Amy. Totally okay to do that. And it is being recorded, so you can rewatch this training. So when you go to actually do some of this stuff, you'll be like, what did she do again? All right, so BAREIS, to get here, you go to the dashboard. I don't know how everybody else gets there, but I type in NorCal. I don't even know what it is. NorCal mls.rapmls.com in case you didn't even know how to get there. You should have a username and password. It'll prompt you to log in. Once you get to this screen, you just click BAREIS Plus. BAREIS Plus covers lots of different counties. It covers all the BAREIS counties, which is Sonoma, Marin, Napa, Solano, Mendocino, plus 18 more. So it covers everything that MetroList covers, which is like Sacramento, El Dorado, Roseville, Placerville, and then it covers down into the valley through like Stockton and Modesto, and then it also goes into the Bay Area. So it covers lots of different MLSs inside of BAREIS Plus. But keep in mind that the primary counties are those Sonoma, Napa, Marin, Solano, and Mendocino. That's really important because in those counties, we can do coming soon listings where the other counties you cannot. So super important. Just because you can pull it up in BAREIS doesn't mean it follows BAREIS rules. Once you click on BAREIS Plus, it's going to open up a new window. Super exciting. This is your dashboard. You can rearrange your dashboard. So it's got these little, on the top of each little box, it's got an X, a little line, or you can like click the little arrow buttons and drag and drop things around to what makes sense to you and what you use the most. I use the Market Watch. I like my listings, although it's really interesting. I'm not sure exactly what it's pulling up here. It's got a lot. It's got the listing locator. So this is like your quick search. There's also a quick search up here on the top toolbar. And then it has like newly matched and recent searches and saved searches. Client portal activity, so you can see who's been in clicking on things. Saved hot sheets. And then you've got your support center over here on the other side. This goes over kind of with the client portal activity. It tells you what clients have new listings in their match. So I probably need to clean up some of my clients, but we'll just ignore that for now. Two things that I really love on the homepage are, number one, this little button right here in the upper right-hand corner that looks like a square with an arrow pointing out of it. If you need to open up a second BAREIS window, this is how you do it. You just click that little button and it opens up a duplicate window. That is the only way to open up BAREIS twice on your computer. If you open up another web page and go in separately, it will log you out of the first one. So this little button right here is key in case you need, like when I'm working on listings or a CMA, like a market analysis, oftentimes I'll pull up the listing from whenever that property was listed the last time on one page. And then on the second page, I'll work on the CMA. That way I have all the details for the property on one. So super handy there. And then also this is your quick search. So in your quick search, you could plug in like Ruby Lane, and it'll pull up any properties. Oh, it's got more than 1,000, so it's not going to pull it up. Oh, it is. It's going to pull up all the properties that have Ruby Lane in the address. Now, keep in mind, when you go to do this search here, less is more. Okay. So you can just search by the address numbers. You can just search by the street. But keep in mind, sometimes if you put in like lane here, it'll pull up only the ones that have L in versus LANE. So that's where I'm saying less is more. Sometimes if you're looking for like a property on Ruby, you might want to just pull up, maybe it's like 135 Ruby Lane. I might just put in 135 Ruby. There's no properties that match that, but that's how I would search that instead of putting the suffix at the end. The downfall of that is that if there's like a Ruby Lane and a Ruby Court and a Ruby Drive and a Ruby in Santa Rosa and a Ruby in Windsor and a Ruby in Vacaville, it's going to pull them all up if it matches that address. Okay, so quick search is there, super handy. In your admin menu here across the top, you have preferences, profile, and then lots of other things that are down here that I don't ever mess with. But you want to make sure to go into your profile and modify your profile. Here's where you can upload your picture. You can make sure that you have your bio in there. You can make sure that all of your websites, your addresses, your phone numbers, that they're all up to date and accurate. If you speak additional languages, all that can go in here. Here's where you manage your contact phones. I'm sorry, that was rude. Here across the top, right underneath where it says agent profile, we're on view profile right now. You can go to manage contact phones. It's a little hyperlink. That allows you to select what numbers show up in the MLS. Super important because oftentimes, see, like it defaults to the primary number being the office number. We don't want the primary number to be the office number because then the office gets annoyed at us when agents are calling the office looking for us. So primary is that cell text number. Primary, secondary, other. You can also have phone type. So if I leave it primary, then on the primary, it's going to list primary contact and then secondary contact versus cell text and home or whatever it might be. Okay. You can add additional numbers here. You can hit revise or add phone numbers. So manage contact phones. Once you're done, you hit save. Here's how you upload picture. Here's how you delete picture. Any questions on your agent profile? Alrighty. Also underneath admin, you're going to find preferences. So if we go to admin and then your preferences, this is where you're going to find magical things. So under general, we have, do you want it to default to the desktop interface on your mobile device? When you open up the app, does it default to desktop or your mobile settings? They have different functionality. So here's how you would change that. Show listings, pictures on listing details screen, pictures on report. So you've got all these different options here on your general settings. Show email to public. If you don't want your email published, take that off, but otherwise leave it there. You listing input defaults. This is where you can set up when you go to put in a listing. Where does it generally take the information from? My preferred county is Solano, preferred city is Vacaville. I don't have a preferred area or a preferred showing assist preferences. I don't even know what that is, but we're going to click on it and find out. Oh, there you go. It's going to set up showing time for you. Okay, so that's under listing input. Search defaults. What do you want your search default to be? What I highly recommend is the one line grid. Okay, one line grid, not the BAREIS one line, because the one line grid works like an Excel spreadsheet. You'll see it here shortly. It'll allow us to sort the listings when we do a search. It's one of the few that allow us to do that. So I like that one line grid. Sort as selected means it'll sort it however you have them selected. And then this is how it sorts right here. So this is how you set up when it's sort as selected. It's going to sort first by area, by city, then area, then price. And you can change that. So if I'm like, man, I really want it to search by, well, I like it by city, but maybe instead of area, maybe I want my second one to be price. And maybe I want the third to be, how about lot size? There we go. So we can pull that up. You can hit your preferred search counties if you want it to always kind of auto-populate what counties. This is where you get your default size measurement, either square feet or acres. Make sure you check this button right here, this counts on the fly button. What that allows you to do is when you plug in search data, it'll auto-populate a how many listings that's going to pull up based on that criteria. It gives you that preview count. And it does it automatically every time you change something. Mine is defaulted to residential, so you can change what your default, or you can just leave it blank and then it won't default any.
Amy,
Yes.
how come on the sort as selected increment, you have 1? What is that one?
So
Mine
this
has,
is just,
mine's showing 10. I don't know
yeah,
if that's normal.
it's a really stupid setting. I don't know what it actually translates to in the real world, but what this means is when you look at your listings down the list, mine are going to be listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instead of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70.
Oh, God. Okay. I was wondering why that would number like that. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what the purpose is that serves. I have no idea.
Okay. Gotcha. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're totally fine. Okay. Email defaults here. This is your default email report format. So you can, look and decide what your favorite is there. You've got lots of different options. You could do like client 1 page. You could do the like 4 up or I kind of like the 4 column. And then you can change your default subject. So anytime you pull up listings and you go to shoot those off to a client, this is what the default email is going to be. Right here, this is how you edit those defaults. And you can always change it when you go to send it as well. Prospecting. Here is the auto prospecting email. This is the schedule preferences. So this is once we set up a contact in there and we're going to send them an email. This is what allows you to set up that auto prospecting email. And this is kind of your default for that process. And here's the client portal invitation, which allows them to come in and search properties on their own or sort their properties between saved and rejected. And here is the auto prospecting update. And this is what shows up in their carts. Okay, so just some random settings there. You can kind of decide what you want to use. And if you're using Real Scout or something like that for your property searches, then you don't even really have to mess with this. Here's your hot sheet defaults. We'll see if we get to hot sheets today. And then your map defaults. This is what shows up on your map settings. Okay, so those are all of your general account preferences. And then, of course, you want to hit save once you're done making any changes. Okay, so you guys need to spend some time on those things, your profile and your preferences, making sure that you think you get it set up appropriately. Now, we're going to go back to the home page, and we have this market watch. I'm a big proponent of making sure you're paying attention to the market watch on a daily basis. In your preferred areas or where you have clients looking for properties. And the way that you set this up is, it used to be a little bit more difficult and not as customizable, and now it's totally customizable, which is fabulous. So what I recommend is every day you log into BAREIS, you check the new listings that have come on the market, the properties that have come back on the market, and your price reductions. And the reason I recommend that is that you've got people looking for properties, and the properties that they're looking for are going to fall into one of those 3 categories. They're either going to be new listings, they've come back on the market, or they've had a price reduction, which puts them into your buyer's price range. Okay. I don't care about closed. I don't care about pendings. I don't care about contingents. I don't care about price increases. I mean, sometimes those are entertaining to look at and try to figure out why they did a price increase. But so those are kind of the ones. If you're doing expired listings, if that's part of your lead gen method, then you might want to have, pay attention to those expireds as well. And if yours looks different than mine, it could look more like this, like a chart. Of course, that didn't give me a chart. It just gave me like colors, but normally there's like a little circle chart there. You can toggle between those, between chart and list. To manage this search, you also, like, if you're like, man, I forgot to do this yesterday, there's this little button here for days back. We can be like, we want to go back 2 days for yesterday and today's listings so that we can review those, and now we haven't missed anything. You can also add different searches here. So as you can see, you can add a whole bunch of properties and searches here. And so you may want to set up like your buyers, a search for each of your buyers so that you can toggle through your buyers and see what those properties look like. You can also see them over here for newly matched listings, but if you've got a lot of people, then they might not all show up there. To manage this search, we're just going to hit the manage button. This is going to give us all of our saved searches. This allows us to I don't need that one anymore, so I can delete it. This is my 24-hour Vacaville search. We have Anastasia's Market Watch. I don't know why we called it Anastasia's, Baptista, right? So I can go in here and delete, run, revise, link. So there's lots of different options for you. And once we're done, we just hit save, refresh, and it does that. So if I was going to update, I think the one that I had set up there was my Market Watch. If I wanted to revise that, and here's my criteria, it's Dixon, Vacaville, Fairfield winners, status is coming soon, active contingent show, contingent no show, pending closed, on or before 8/31 of 21, sold off MLS, hold or temporarily off market, withdrawn or canceled, duplicate withdrawn. This 8/13 was just the day that I set up this search. It really doesn't matter. So if I wanted to revise that, I'm just going to click the revise button, and it's going to pull up that search criteria. So maybe I wanted to add residential income to this search so that I have those properties as well. And I'm going to update this because it's telling me I've got too many, because it's been pulling them for years now. So we're just going to come back and hit January on this so that it keeps it under control. All right. So now I've got both residential and residential income properties, and maybe I wanted to add another city. So I've got Vacaville, Dixon, Fairfield winners. Maybe I wanted Sassoon, and maybe I want Elmira to my list. And I don't think I want any other. I just want to kind of leave it like a blanket search in those areas. And then we're going to hit search up here, or we can hit save. We're going to hit search. All right, now let's see if that updated. So now we're going to go back to my home dashboard. You can save your dashboard too. So once you set up your dashboard, you can save it or create a new dashboard. So you could toggle between different dashboards and make one your primary by giving it a gold star. Your home dashboard's what it's gonna, or your gold star dashboard is what it's gonna open up to every time. It did not save my search. So hold on, we're gonna go manage. We're gonna go my market watch. We're gonna hit revise. I'm gonna make those 2 revisions again. Oops, income and Sassoon, Elmira, and then I'm gonna hit, let's try save. Oh, here, save search as, and it's just replacing the name. And then this is where you would, if you were saying it in a new search, you'd want this my market watch or market watch on. I'm gonna hit save. Override existing search. Yes, I want it to override the existing search. So now it's gonna pull up that information from this search. So if I go back to my home dashboard,
so can we set up a market watch for Solano County, market watch for Contra Costa, and a market watch for Sacramento?
yes, you could. So you would just hit add search
Add a
and
saved search. Okay.
add a saved search. Oh, we can't do that. So hold on. We just have to go like this. You just go to search and go standard search. And then if you wanted residential properties in Sacramento, we're going to click all these buttons just for kicks. And if I wanted all of, do you want Sacramento County or do you want like Sacramento proper?
What is the difference?
Well, one's the entire Sacramento County and one is just the city of Sacramento.
Okay, Sacramento County. So is that going to be the SA?
Yep. So you just, right here where it says counties, you just search Sacramento and then select it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit save search here from the black toolbar. We're gonna name it Sacramento County. And we're gonna toggle that market watch to on. Once you do that, you hit save. And this is how you're gonna add any search to that. And then we hit home dashboard. Now, if I want, I can click this button here, which is going to allow me to toggle between my searches. So here's my new Sacramento County. If I click on that one, it's going to pull Sacramento County for the last day. New listings, back on market, price reductions, closed sales. So yeah, you could set that up for whatever counties you wanted to look at or whatever cities, or you can be really specific. Any search that you set up. So if you had a buyer that was looking at properties, up to 600,000 in multiple counties or multiple areas, you could set that up and you could put in, Anastasia's Market Watch. That's probably how it got that name in the first place. And then each morning you could come in and you could toggle between your market watches so that you can see what new properties came on the market that match your buyer's needs. The one that you star here is going to be your default search. So that's what it's going to default to. Okay. And then again, if you wanted to clean this up, you just hit manage. Any questions about your market watch?
Nope, thank you. Got it.
Fabulous. This box here is your listing locator. It's very similar to this box up here. It allows you to search for listings either based on the listing number, which would be your MLS number, street name, street number, right? Anything there, on market only. So you can search houses there like that. Any of your saved searches, even if they're not set for the market watch, they're going to show up down here in your saved search box. Okay, so anytime you save a search. And the really handy thing is, let's say that I am in a search. We're just going to go standard search. And let's say I'm plugging around, setting up my things, and I hit search. Who knows what it's going to pull up? Yes, that's what I thought it was going to say. Hold on just a second. We're going to go Solano County. All right, we're going to hit view results. All right, so let's say that I'm in this window and I'm not paying attention, and then I close this window and I'm like, oh man, I didn't mean to close that window. I meant just to toggle between the windows. No need to fear. We just open up a new window. We can come down here to the saved search toolbar right here. And at the top is going to be the most recent search that I completed. So if I open that back up, it's going to put me right back to where it was when I closed that window. Magic. That'll be the most useful thing in the world, because you'll see it happens a lot that you either close it down, or you'll be looking at something and realize you need to look at something else. You would have already closed out of that search. Maybe you're running comps or doing whatever. It makes it super easy just to pull it right back up again. Super handy. Alrighty.
What's the hot sheets?
Hot sheets. Hot sheets are not my favorite, but let's look at hot sheets. So if we go searches and we go to hot sheets, and you can save your hot sheets. The one thing that hot sheets are really good for is, let's say we want to know all the new properties that came on the market in Vacaville in the month of December. This allows you to block a period of time out. So this is the one key feature of a hot sheet. So I could go, hey, I want all the changes from December 1st at, oh, don't get mad at me, at 12:01 a.m. And I want to go, yes, I know, give me a minute. All right, and I want to go to December 31st at 11:59 p.m. And I want all of the new listings that came on the market during this time period for those dates, and I want it for Vacaville. $43 new properties came on the market between 12/1 and 12/31 in Vacaville in the month of December. I can hit view results. It shows me all the properties, how many are still on the market, how many contingent, pending, closed, right? It doesn't care what the current status is. It just pulls all those properties that came on the market that were listed as a new listing in the month of December. So it's super handy if you're trying to pull stats for a specific month. Okay, everybody see how I did that?
Yeah, but so here's a good question.
Yes.
Scroll, where'd you go? Go back to that one where you were just at, please.
Yes.
Why did it have two, scroll down? Why does it have on Daybreak two identical? Did somebody just enter it? Why is it why is there it's the two different?
Because it probably went on the market and then went off the market and then came back on the market. Let's see what it says. Daybreak. If not, we can ask George. Let's look at the property history. So when we're inside the listing, anytime you pull up a listing, right here that's got this property history button, you can pull that open and it'll tell you what the property history was. So we had coming soon on December 2nd and active on the I have no idea why it's listed twice. It's very interesting. Active, coming soon, pending, closed. It's just making stuff up.
Sometimes I see that. I'm like, why is it duplicated when it looks like it's identical? The listing number's the same. The price is the same.
It's a very good question that I don't have an answer to. It's a glitch in the system. We're in the matrix.
Okay, I'll take that as a response.
Okay, it could be. Okay, so that one's listed twice. Celestine Spring Valley is listed twice. I wonder if it's because it was listed as a coming soon and then it was listed as a new listing both in the month of December. So let's look at Spring Valley. And then let's go property history. I bet this one was listed as a coming soon as well. There you go. It was a coming soon in December and then went active. So it's pulling them both as a coming soon and as an active.
Okay, thank you.
It's a glitch. Let's go revise criteria. So anyways, if you wanted to pull the pending properties for the month of December, you could do that. You could go back other months. So it gives you some great options there to be able to pull stats or options or whatnot. Okay, hot sheets. You can save the hot sheet or you can schedule the hot sheet. So if I hit save schedule, I could save the hot sheet as Vacaville new on market and hit more. It's a one-line hot sheet, scheduled email, sort by, right? So I could go, hey, yeah, we want this to go out daily or weekly. And I could hit it to send every so often on the hot sheet. So it's similar to like a search, but not as functional. Okay, any other questions about hot sheets?
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right. Let's see what else we have. We did admin, there's your help button. Our contacts or prospects, that's how you add people to set them up on a search. So if we go in here to contacts and prospects, you could set somebody new up. We would just hit create new contact. I'm not tracking these people like a database. I'm just using this to send them listings. So I just put in the bare minimum, like contact name, sample human. Be really careful so it doesn't flag my video. My groups, here's where you can sort them. I'm really lazy when it comes to the MLS. So I'm like, hey, I just want it to go in all, but this allows you to sort from prospects, clients, vendors, personal, and other. So I just want them to show up anytime I go in the contacts. So I always put them in all the buckets. And then you want them to have an email. So we're going to have it testcontact@testemail.com. And then that's really all I'm looking for in this top section. I need an email, I need a name. That's it. If they have like a spouse or somebody that you wanted to CC an email to, you would put it in that CC box right underneath the regular email. Then you could set it to send to both people at the same time. Here's where you would turn on your auto prospecting. So this is where it sets them up to send them new listings as they come on the market. We click the little box for yes. It's going to say, hey, when do you want to start this? When do you want to end it? It always defaults to a year out. I just leave it there. You can't go any longer. And then when do you want it to send out? Do you want it to go ASAP? That means as soon as something hits the market, whether it's 2 in the morning, whether it's 2 in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. It's going to send them another email saying, hey, something matches your criteria. Do you want it to send out once per day? Do you want it to send out weekly, or do you want it to send out monthly? So, right. So if I've got somebody that's like, oh yeah, we're thinking about buying sometime this year. We're just not sure. We're trying to get all our ducks in a row. I probably don't want it to send out ASAP or even daily. I probably want it to send out like maybe weekly, because they're not really serious about buying yet, but I want to keep it in the forefront of their mind and not overwhelm them. So I'd probably send it out weekly. If I was setting somebody up on like a market search just in their neighborhood because they bought a house from me and I want them to see what's been on the market on a monthly basis, number one, I'd probably use Real Scout. And number two, if I was going to use BAREIS, I'd probably set it up for monthly so they get an email once a month. If you go daily or weekly, it's going to give you more options as to what day of the week and what time, or daily, what time of the day do you want it to go out, to keep them updated. If it's ASAP, remember, as soon as it detects something on the market, it's going to send it to them. So you're going to make your selections and hit save. You have to get an email to yourself in order to set up auto prospecting. So here in the send prospecting email to agent, you want to put either daily summary or use prospect schedule. If you use prospect schedule and it's ASAP, every time a new listing comes in that matches any of your clients, you're going to get an email alert, versus if you're like, man, I just want a daily summary, just send me each day what matches, then we could do that with daily summary. And do you want price changes, status changes, or rejected listings? You can decide what you want. The next button is where you send it to the client. So yes, I want newly matched listings going to my client, and I want them to be aware of price changes. I don't necessarily care about status changes. Like if it goes from active to pending, I don't care about that. And I don't care if anything changes in their rejected listings bucket. Okay. If they had a CC email, the spouse that you put up there in that CC, here's where you would mark yes to send it to the CC. And here's where you would choose that report format, whether we wanted a 4-column, photo gallery, client one page with thumbnails, whatever that report format is, you can select it there. And that's where in your preferences, we selected the default report format. That's where that default came from. Here you can adjust the frequency. So you had somebody that maybe was getting them weekly. They're starting to get a little bit more serious. We told them to go talk to a lender and get pre-approved. We may move it to daily at that point. And then once they're pre-approved, now we move it to ASAP. So we just hit the little button to modify the auto prospecting frequency, and that allows you to change it. This client portal, if you click this button, it opens up a client portal that they can log into. If you leave this button checked here, it allows them not only to log into a portal, to be able to sort their listings. So from the portal, they can go into all their newly matched listings and they can sort them into saved or rejected. If you allow them to create searches in the client portal, they can create their own searches while they're in there. New searches, maybe different searches. It's a good option to leave that on.
And are we notified if they do that?
Are you notified? I think if you have your client portal activity alerts turned on in the next box, then you are alerted if they do that. If you do not have them turned on, then you are not.
Copy that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So here, this keeps you updated, and you can either go hourly or once a day. You probably don't need to be kept up to date of your client's activity on an hourly basis. You probably only need it once a day. And then here is the cart maintenance. What is going to show up in their cart? Now, honestly, I only really care about the coming soon and active properties. That's all I truly want my clients to see. But if I leave it marked as just coming soon and active, then they're going to say, hey, there was a property on there I really liked. What happened to it? And they're not going to be able to see what happened to it. So it's a good idea to go ahead and leave maybe those contingent, pending, and even closed properties on there so that they can see what happened to the listings that they were interested in. Or, you know, when they have that, you go show them a property, they're like, man, we really like that. Let's think about it. And they wait 2 days and they're like, hey, Evelyn, I'm ready to write an offer on that property. And you're like, man, it is already under contract. They can see that they missed out on it. And then they can see that it closed for less than they were going to offer. And they're going to be really sad. Okay. Strategic. So cart maintenance, I usually leave all of those on so that they can see those. This reverse prospecting, what this allows somebody to do is this would allow another agent to log in to BAREIS to say, hey, I've got a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home getting ready to come on the market in Sassoon. And it can search for all of the agents that have a client that matches that criteria in their portal. It doesn't let them see the client's information or anything, but it will allow them to potentially shoot an email over to you and be like, hey, Antoinette, I've got a listing getting ready to come on the market that I think matches one of your clients' searches. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in Sassoon. It's coming on the market at $600,000. Just wanted to give you a heads up, right? So it gives you the ability to be able to reverse prospect or be proactive in prospecting your listings. You can put in a code here, like you could be like, it's Amy, or it's code 123, right? Or maybe you put in the last 4 digits of their phone number, 1111. And then allow agent to email agent. Yes, that allows them to email me to make me aware of potential listings that might match my client's criteria. Once we have all that in there, you're like, Amy, we didn't even get to the search yet. I know. It's all right. We hit save. Once you save, because we asked it to turn on auto prospecting, there's no search in there. It's going to say, hey, you need to set up at least one type of search. What kind of search do you want? The only 2 searches I use in here, just for the record, are either standard or map. Those are the only 2 ways that I search inside of BAREIS for just about anything, except for that little toolbar on the top of the page. I either do standard, map, or the little toolbar on the top. So I'm going to do standard, and then you're going to name the search. Keep in mind that when you name the search, your clients are going to see that name. So just be aware of that and make it something clever and nice and amazing. And then you're going to hit submit. Because I hit standard, it's going to pull up my standard search options here, which gives you the ability to search from anything that is a field that they can change in the MLS. Now, when you do property searches, just a heads up, it's only as good as the information as the clients input it into the system. So be very careful when you try to narrow it down too much. Okay, and what do I mean by narrow it down too much? If we say, hey, we only want listings in a certain school district, that may not be very accurate. Okay, because some agents don't put in school districts, or some might put in the wrong school district. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be accurate. So here's the first type of search you have is the property types: residential, lease, income, commercial sale, mobile home in a park or floating home, land, commercial lease. And it may be that somebody's like, man, I'm interested in residential and I would take a mobile home. I'm not picky, right? So you could check more than one box. If you check different boxes, it provides you with different options down here, or sometimes we'll take options away. Okay. So we're going to hit residential. This, you can select a subtype. So if you don't want condos or you don't want townhomes, we just want single family residences, this is where you would select that. If we're looking for 2 houses on the lot, we would select that button. Keep in mind, that's not always accurate either. So some people list them as a single family residence with an auxiliary dwelling unit, not necessarily 2 homes on the lot. So if you were looking for that, you may want to select both search criterias, or you can set up more than one search. Okay, does this make sense to everybody so far? Okay, I see everybody's head shaking yes. Just joking, your pictures aren't moving at all. Your subtype description, anytime there's a hyperlink, you can open up subtype. So maybe if I wanted an attached, or maybe I want single family residences, but I want to make sure they're not attached. Those are called duet homes. So like in Vacaville, you find those back on like Purdue or behind Vacapenne is where those are located. There's also some like in Fairfield off Peabody. Almost to Vacaville in that Gold Ridge subdivision. There's properties that you have a driveway on each side of the corner, but they actually have an adjoining wall. That would be a single family attached property. And you may have clients that are like, I don't want anything to do with those. You could go, instead of attached include, you could go, I want to exclude any attached homes. Okay, so you can either include or exclude options here in these pop-up menus. And then you hit OK. Now, because I have it where it auto calculates, just so you know, this is going to always, this little number in the upper left-hand corner is going to keep changing as I change the criteria. Stories, 1, 2, 3, this is where you would adjust that. If they wanted just like a single story, we could say we just want single story. And just so you know, sometimes this isn't completely accurate either. If we wanted to eliminate senior communities or include senior communities, here we could say yes or no. If we don't mark anything, it's going to include those senior communities in our search regardless. Okay, so default is it includes it unless we either hit yes or no. So if we don't want it to include senior communities, then it takes out all the senior homes. And if we mark yes, now it has to be marked yes to be included in our search. It has to be a senior community. Okay. And then you could hit include or exclude as well, but it's not necessary on this one. Here's where you could choose what statuses you want to look at. I really, truly only care about coming soon and active when I'm looking for searches. Here's where you can put a price. Keep in mind, you don't have to put in one, or you don't have to put in both these. So we don't have to put in a minimum price. If our maximum price is 700,000, we just put the max price, then it pulls everything from 0 to 700. If you're like, I don't care about the $600,000 properties, now it's just going to pull anything from 600 to 700,000. You can sort by counties, cities, sub-districts, zip codes. You don't have to put everything in there. So you could search Vacaville without searching Solano County, or you could just search Solano County. Or I could search a zip code without putting Vacaville. I could search 95688 without searching for Vacaville. Okay. Bedroom and bathroom counts work the same as prices, that we could put in a low, like we want a minimum of 3 bedrooms, but we would take as many bedrooms as we could fit for 600,000, or you could put in a max there. And same thing with like bathrooms. Now, careful with the bathrooms because it has total bathrooms, full bathrooms, and partial bathrooms. If you put in one here, if we're like, man, they want at least 1.5 bathrooms, so we put in 1 full bathroom and 1 partial bathroom, it is only going to pull listings that have at least a half bath. So if they have 2 full baths and no half baths, you're not going to see that listing. It has to have a half bath. Okay. So the way around that is we can say, hey, we want 2 bathrooms. And now it's going to pull, whether it's a full bath or a half bath, it could have 1.5 baths that might pull it up in the search. Okay. If they have a certain square footage, price per square foot, lot size, you can toggle between square foot and acres on the lot size. So you could do 10,000 square feet, or you could do like less than an acre or more than an acre, right? So you could go, this would be, you know, more an acre or more, and this would be everything less than an acre, right? So it just depends on where you put that one in, changes the search completely. If they're worried about the year built, you can plug in those. Here's where you can plug in, if we were doing a search, not saving it to one of our contacts, but if we were looking for a search for other listings that belong to Realty One Group, you could come in here and you could go, hey, listing agent ID, buyer agent ID, listing office. So let's look at the listing office. We're going to click this little piece of paper right here, or we can just check this box, include all company listings. But if you wanted to search a certain office, we just come in here, we're going to search the office name, Realty One Group. Here's where it pulls it in. Now, keep in mind, see this ID right here. There's going to be more, there should be more than one Realty One Group Fox. Oh, good. I'm not a liar. Because this here is going to be like the Metro List code for our Metro List membership. We're going to scroll down further. So you want to look through these and really find that, or we could refine our search. So here's another Realty One Group Fox here with a 7C832. That one looks like it could be BAREIS, and this, here's another one. So we just want to make sure we pull them all in and then hit OK. And now it pulls in any listings from Realty One Group that match that criteria. If I left it all blank and just pulled it by that, then it would pull up all of our listings or include all company listings. You can mess with that as well. So that's one good way of finding listings if you're looking for like an open house. Status dates, change dates, date on market. If you're like, man, I didn't see my listing criteria here, there's this additional criteria tab right here next to the general criteria. Number of fireplaces, number of rooms, ADU unit, right? So that'd be auxiliary dwelling unit, second unit, accessibility features. There's lots of things in here, but remember, just be careful when you dive into something that's too specific, because it matters if somebody marked yes or no on the box when they inputted the listing. So there's like anything you could input on a listing, you'll find an option to search for it there. Okay. So that's how you would set up the search for your client, or really do any sort of standard search on any level. Once we are done, again, because I have it set to auto populate the listings, it's told me that there's 6 listings. I can hit view results here to see them, or I can hit search up here. Either one works. So we hit view results. It's going to pull it up in a funky format because we're saving it for our client. So here's our listings for sample human, gives us all those different listings. From here, we can hit update to save that search to our clients. And it's going to say, hey, do you want to go ahead and send them that invitation to view their portal? Now, if they have a search set up, you're going to be like, yeah, go ahead and send it now. And then it pulls their listings. Here's where you could add agent recommended listings to this cart. Saved, client rejected, and agent rejected. So if you're looking through here and you're like, oh man, that's an active adult community, you could click the box. You can go move and go to rejected. Now it's going to take that listing out of one that they're going to see and they're newly matched because it's not a good match for them. Okay. This is that one grid search, the one line grid search that I told you to set your default to. The reason I like this is I can click on any of these headlines, titles, what's that called? Row column name. And it'll sort. So I can sort by list price. If I click it again, it goes the opposite way, or it unsorts by that, days on market. So this is why I like this one line grid, is you can sort it super easy by any of the columns. And you can also customize your grid, which is cool. We can hit customize grid. And you can change the columns that show up in that grid. So here, if I didn't want the agent, let's say I don't want the agent name, I just click on it and hit remove, and it takes that column off my selected fields. Or I could come over here and say, oh, I want something else, like the number of fireplaces. So we're going to add that. Here we can, if we want number of fireplaces moved up, we can click it and hit move it up, so that it shows up differently. So now it's going to have bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, and then fireplaces. All I do is hit save. And then I go back to list. And now my grid will always show up with the fireplaces there on my grid results. So it's super easy to change and modify this grid to whatever you want it to be with whatever criteria. You could add, if you wanted to see if there was a pool on the property, you could add that column into your grid. Okay, so that's how you customize the grid. That's how you sort this grid. We sent those listings over to our client already. They received that invitation. I showed you how to move them into rejected or saved. Any other questions about this screen?
No, ma'am.
All right. The other search that I like, so this is the standard search. We access this one inside of the client portal, but you can access it by search and then standard search. The other search that I like is the interactive map search. I use this for all of my comparative market analysis reports. I use this for all of my listings if I'm trying to catch a value for my listings, because it pulls up a map and I can narrow it down by neighborhood. So I find this super helpful. Or like I've got clients right now that are looking for a property up in Placerville, but they need something close to the highway, not way out in the boonies. And if I just plug in Placerville and their criteria, it pulls all these properties that are like, 50 minutes off the highway that are still considered Placerville. So this allows me to be able to view its proximity to the highway and how close it would take them to get back to Sacramento. You can also narrow down the search by drawing on this one, which is super cool. So I can hit this little draw button and I can select either a circle. If I do a circle, then I can say, hey, I want a circle from this right here. And then it tells me that I have a circle and it only pulls the listings inside that circle. Or if I click edit, I can say, hey, instead of including everything in that circle, I want it to exclude everything in that circle. Now it's going to pull up all the listings, but the listings inside that circle. So if you have clients, they're like, man, I want a Vacaville, but I don't want this neighborhood. We can eliminate that neighborhood in their search. Okay, so you can also, in addition to that circle, you can do a pencil where you click and you draw freehand a shape. Or we could hit draw and we could go square. And this is going to work the same like a circle, but it's going to pull up either a rectangle or a square. Or we can go draw. And this little one with the dots is my favorite tool because it allows me to select a specific neighborhood. Hold on, let me see if I can. Hold on, we're going to turn that off for a second. Hold on. Go away. Doesn't like me. There it goes. All right, hold on. Let's say that I'm like, oh man, I just want this neighborhood right here because it's such a fabulous, amazing neighborhood. I'm going to zoom in and then see how close I can get. Perfect. And then I'm going to hit draw. This is why I like it for CMAs is I can select the specific neighborhood for that area. So I can really narrow out the shape of the neighborhood by hitting this little one with the draw. Now I've got lots of shapes on here. Let's say that I want to edit some of these shapes. All I do is I come back here and hit this edit button. I've got a circle. If I want to eliminate that one, I can just hit the little X button and it goes. Free draw was the pencil, rectangle. This was the first polygon and this was the last polygon. Okay, so see how I can draw on that and make that cool. The other thing is over here is your search criteria. This gives you that search criteria that you saw on that standard search, right? So we have the property type, we have subtypes, we have statuses. So maybe we want active and coming soon. Bedroom, bathroom count, price, living, city, county, right? Here I have ADU and pool. If you're missing fields that you want for your search, we just come in here to the fields button and we select what we're looking for. Maybe we're looking for properties with a basement. We click add and then we hit save. Now at the bottom down here, it gives me the option to select a basement. Okay, so that's how you add fields to this search. We're going to eliminate this polygon because there's nothing there. So I've got new and I've got on active and coming soon properties. If I were to zoom in this map, oops, that was out. If I were to zoom in and then I can change my display. So let's say that I zoomed in over here. It's only going to pull the properties that I can see on my screen if I change the display. So if I go from the map to the one line grid, it's not going to pull all the active listings in all of Vacaville. It's only going to pull what I can see on my screen or what was in that shape. Okay, so super handy there. We can, from here, we can revise criteria, which is going to take us back to that map search, right back to where we were. And then that allows you to go back into the search criteria and narrow down the criteria, or you could draw a shape on there. So super handy map search. I love the map search. Oh, let's say that we're in one line grid. And then let's say that I was like, man, I would like to see where these two condos are, or I like these two as comps or whatever it might be. Now, if I go back to, you can either get back to that by hitting revise criteria, it'll back you up to the map, or we can come over here to the display and go map view and it'll take us back. So either way, we'll get you back to the map. And then it's going to show me those check boxes for the boxes, the listings that I selected. I can also click any of these dots and it'll pull up the property information. If I click on it again, it'll pull me up the information on it. And I can select the box here as well, and it'll add it into the checked listings column. That allows me to select listings for a report. So if I were to select, we'll just select a few more. All right, so I've picked some listings, and then I've got 5 check listings. From here, I could go, hey, I want a report. And into the report, it's only going to pull the checked listing. So anytime I go to report, if I want the agent 1 page, I can hit run. And here it's going to give me the agent 1 page report for those checked listings. If I come back here, it takes me back to those page with those listings. Now, even if I go off the page with those checked listings are still going to show up on any of my reports because they've been selected. Okay. Any questions so far about the map search?
No.
Okay. Now, in addition to being able to search properties on the map search, you can also set your clients up on the map search. So it's super handy that way. You can go multiple areas, right? So you don't have to just eliminate like by city or anything. We could cross over city lines for our search, right? So possibilities are endless there. The other thing that you can do here is we can go to layers. And we can choose different layers for our map. So right now we just have like your generic Google map, right? It doesn't even have the satellite. Under parcels, if I'm like, man, I'd like to see the parcel lines, it's going to zoom me in so I can see the parcels and the layouts of the lots. And if I go parcel dimensions right here, it's going to zoom me in a little further and it's going to show me all of the measurements of those lots. So I know that this lot right here is 220 feet by 87 on the back and 91 across the front. Sometimes that's important to know what the lot measurements are. Okay. You could go, here is the county recorded sales. What's cool about the county recorded sales is oftentimes like new home communities. They don't report their closed sales on the MLS. So it's hard to get an idea of what the new home communities are closing at. So you can go to county recorded sales and it'll pull up any county recorded sales, which oftentimes also pulls up those new home sales in those new home communities. So you just check a box. And then if we were to go find a new home community, if you zoom out from things that you selected, once you zoom back in, it'll come back. So let's go find. Now, when you hit county recorded sales, it also will list the sales that show up in the MLS. Just a little heads up on that. But let's zoom over here. To this area here. So like here you have New Home Company in Northern California sold this property for $687 or $687,000, $677,000. So great way to find out what those new homes are selling for right there by going county recorded sales. The other thing that's super handy about these layers is let's come back over here. Berryessa, we're getting close. Oh, here's that really cool area. We can come down here to our hazards and we can say, hey, we want the flood data. And now it's going to show us what properties fall into those flood zones. If you click on it, it'll tell you what that flood zone data is. Flood zone A requires flood insurance. So super handy there to see if the property's in a flood zone. The other thing that'll show up is your state responsibility fire hazard zone. So as we scroll out, let's get out of the city. Let's take off that flood data. I need to take some of my layers off. It's slowing me down. Come on. There we go. Starting to see the zones. Okay, hold on just a second. I'm going to take off these county recorded sales. So here it shows you the high fire hazard zones, the medium fire hazard zones. So then you know if you need that, little special disclosure for the high fire hazard severity zones out here. Or you can tell whether the insurance is going to be really costly or not. So that was under hazards and the state fire hazard responsibility. So lots of cool things that you can do with the layers on the map search. Any question about those layers?
No, ma'am.
All right. If we had a search pulled up and we wanted to save this to a contact, makes it really easy. We can just hit prospecting, add listings to prospects cart. So instead of saving the whole search, it's just going to pull whatever listings we have selected and pop them into that person's cart. We can save this as a new prospect, or we can add search to existing prospects. So this one just adds the listings. This one actually takes the whole search and adds it to their auto prospecting setup. And then you can select any existing contacts there, or you can create a new contact. Okay, so that's under prospecting. If we wanted to save this search, we could just hit save, and this gives us the ability to add it to our market watch. So we would name it, add it, and you can change what way it shows up, whether it's the map or one line grid, and how to sort it. So that's by hitting save. If we had selected, hold on, let me select some properties here. We're just going to select all 27. Now I'm going to go back, and you can do this either from all of these options here are available either in the standard search or the map search. So you can do it either way. I'm just going to take these little check boxes back to the map search to show you they're all now checked. They also, just so you know, to the colors on here on the little bubbles or the boxes, they correspond to the status of the property. So like the blue ones are active, contingent, and contingent no show. Your yellow ones are going to be new listings are coming soon. Your green ones are pending, and your red ones are sold. So the colored dots match the status of the property. But from here, if we select some properties, we can hit statistics, and it's going to pull us up the stats for those properties that we have selected. So if we had a farm and we wanted to pull the stats just for that farm, we could go and draw a box around our farm. We could hit select, active, contingent, pending, and closed sales, and then come over here and hit stats, select all those listings, and it'll tell us what kind of property mix we have, and then it'll give us our minimum, average, median, and maximum bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, acreage, original price, sold price, days on market. So super easy way to pull stats for a specific area right there. Okay, so I just selected the properties that I wanted to include. So if I had a farm, I would select that farm area. I would select all those listings inside that farm, and then I would hit stats, and it would pull this data for the farm area. Okay, to go back to list, we just hit back to list. Let's see, what else can we do from here? We talked about stats. You can export them. You can email them. So if you wanted to email these listings to somebody, we just click the email button. And this, you can select the report type. We hit submit. It's going to ask us either to select one of our contacts or put in an email. I'm just going to hit back. So you can email those listings out to somebody. You can pull that report, same idea as I did before, or we can pull a CMA report, which we'll go into on another day because it gives you a couple of options there. So lots of good options inside of there. The other thing that we can do is we could schedule a showing. Oh, you know what's really cool? Hold on, before we get there. Hold on, we're going to go back to, I'm going to go to the one-line grid to navigate this real quick. I'm going to unselect all the listings, and I'm just going to select a handful of listings. And then from here, we can hit, if we go back to the map, now it's only going to map those listings that I selected. Okay, because I selected listings and I didn't hit either revise criteria or back to the map all listings. I hit map. It's only showing those listings that I selected. And from here, you can go more and we can go routing. So if we were trying to set up a showing and we wanted to know which way we should go or how to pull up those, we can go routing in here. We can click add checked. We can decide what order we want them in. So if you're like, let's see, Amberwood's over there, and then we have Lassen and Glacier. So now if I go into more and hit routing, I can go, let's see, we want Lassen and Glacier, and we want to hit Amberwood first. So I can just click this little arrow and rearrange the listings. And then I can hit get directions. Now it's going to pull it up in Google Maps for me in that order and that I selected them. Now keep in mind too, from here, you can still rearrange them some more. So you can look at your route and you can go send directions to your phone right from here. And now it'll either email them or text them to me. And then when I get in my car, I plug my phone into my car, I can pull up these directions and voila, I'm on my way on my listing route to go show properties. Is that not super cool or what? I think that's so cool.
That has helped me so much in planning
Good.
when I go to, especially when I go to Sacramento.
You went to where to do that?
All right. So I just had whatever listings I wanted to show my client selected. And then I went to more and I went to routing.
Oh,
And then I hit get directions.
oh, cool.
And it'll pull it up in Google Maps for you like magic.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
All right.
Oh my
Let's see
Love
what
that.
else we can do in here. We can measure map route, select default. Okay, the other thing that you can do is you can go schedule a showing. So all those properties that I had selected, it's going to pull them up into showing time.
Love that too. That's so easy.
Right. And then the ones that aren't using showing time, it's still okay because you can still set them up, but you select the date, the buyer name, description. Then you have a record of it. So it's super cool that you can do it that way as well. So that's kind of what you can do inside of that map. So we can change the display. We can toggle between that one line grid and the map. We can add those layers. We can do the routing. We can set it up to schedule a showing. We can save those listings. Like I said, when we were inside all the listings, we can save the search, or we can save the specific listings to a prospect's cart. If I take just a few listings and I go prospecting and I say add listings to the prospect's cart, it's going to not put them in there as a newly matched. It's going to put them in there as agent recommended, just for the record. If they're already in their cart, it'll tell you like I've got 5 selected, and so it may tell me like 4 saved to prospect's cart because one was already in there. You can remove, show. So there's all sorts of things that you can do here, but that's kind of the main ones. Here you can also do stats. This is like the quick bubble of what I pulled up in the separate window. So you can either go stats here, or this is the bigger window, which pops it up in a new screen. So that's how you do a search. Okay, 2 ways to do a search. Ways to save them to your prospect's cart, how to set up a prospect. I showed you how to navigate your homepage. And I will show you one more thing that you'll find super handy inside of BAREIS. And that is that, maybe 2 more things. Let's go 2 more things. So let's go back to that map search that I just closed out of because I thought I was done with it. So now it pulled it up right back to where I was. The same properties are selected that were selected previously. Okay, super simple. I just went back to recent searches and pulled it back up again. From here, there's a whole nother thing called carts, and I really like carts. So I can hit add to cart right here. It's another button that I just skipped over and ignored. From here, you can select add to existing cart, new cart, add to IDX featured properties, right? So the IDX featured, if you've got a website that's pulling your IDX feed from this site, if you add it to your IDX featured properties, and you have the featured properties on your website set up, it'll pull it up there. Okay, I know that was really confusing, but just tuck that away in your memory that Amy said you could do that somewhere, and that's where to do it. You can add to a newly matched cart or add to agent recommended cart. So we're going to add to a new cart, and I'll show you why. We're going to name this cart Thursday. Okay, I have lots of carts, so you could just name it if you're really good at going in there and cleaning out your carts. Oftentimes what I set it up as is like test human. And then we're going to go see these properties tomorrow. Oops, it's 1/25/23. So I set it up with like the name and the date of the showings of these properties. And then I hit add. Okay, so I added 5 listings to my cart. You're like, Amy, why did you do a cart? Well, this is why. So now if I just went into the test human profile and pulled up their cart, which you can see. So if I go into contacts and prospects, it'll show me here the prospects cart, what's in newly matched, what's in agent recommended, what's in saved, what's in agent rejected, and what's in client rejected. So I can see what's in their folders here. But this doesn't give me those 5 listings that we're going to show. It gives me all their newly matched or all their saved properties. So I threw those into a cart. So now if I go into carts, okay, before I go off this page, before I go to carts, just so you know too, with all your clients, you can see what's in their cart. You can see that they either unsubscribed from the listing feed or if an invitation was sent, and it'll show you if it was opened or not opened. It'll show you when the last time they were in that portal was. So this is a good way to tell when people were recently in there. If they sent you a little message, it's in the mailbox. So you'll see the little mailbox with the flag going up and down there. And then here you can like send them an email message from there. So just some little things when you go in, this is what you can see with the clients inside of BAREIS and how to read that. Yep.
What are the different colors?
These different colors in the client portal activity is how recently they've been in their portal. So it makes it really easy for you to scroll and see who's been into the portal.
So green is good, red is bad.
Green is good, red is bad.
Copy that.
And then down here, this is the counters by color. So newly matched are the red numbers. Agent recommended stay gray. Saved listings are kind of that green color. Rejected listings are purple, right? And then here's your yellow, red. Red is they haven't been in their portal for 31 days. Yellow is 7 to 30 days. And green is 0 to 6. Okay. So that's what you can see inside the portal. And keep in mind too that because I throw most of my people in all my buckets, most of my people always show up. But here's where you would get like all active. So that would be somebody that's a prospect, a client, a vendor, a personal, or an other. Or if you had them in different buckets, you can sort them and look at them differently. Okay, this is where those groups, when we save that contact in there, this is where those groups come into play, is right here. All right, so carts. Okay, so now you've seen that. Carts. So I saved those listings to a cart. So now if I select cart and then I go down and find that cart, I haven't cleaned these up in a while. So I saved it as test human. So it's down here. I can pull up this cart really simply, and it just has those 5 listings that we're going to go see for the day in that cart. Makes it super easy then to click on. And from here, I can go map. And then from map, I can go more and I can go routing. Okay, so it makes it super easy to, if they're like, hey, I want to see this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, right? Instead of doing like a full search, I can just plug each property individually into the search bar, save it to their cart. And then after I'm done saving, I can go into their cart, open those up, and then do the routing and figure out what order we're going to go in and set up those showings. So that's one way to use it. The other way is on the BAREIS app on your phone. If you go into the BAREIS app and you go to listings, that's where you're going to find your carts. So when you're out showing properties, you can go into the app, listings, carts, find that cart, pull it up. And now it makes it really easy to cycle through whatever listing you're at and get them the details for that listing on the go without having to search for it. Okay, so carts. I like to use carts. It also gives you a history of what you've shown those people over time. So oftentimes, well, I don't, clean out my carts very often, but when I do clean out my carts, I try to make sure I'm done with the client. Otherwise, I save a cart every time we go out and see properties so that I have a record of what properties they've looked at. If I filled out that buyer broker agreement and I have to provide them a list of what properties they saw to protect myself to make sure I get a commission if I showed them the property, now I've got a list of properties that we've seen. So super easy that way as well. Any questions about carts?
Nope, they're the greatest invention.
Nope, thank you.
All right. And then before I'm done today, I'm sorry if you had to go. We lost Evelyn. I will show you one last thing that you can do here on BAREIS, which is super handy. I mean, you can do lots of things on here, but if you go into trends on the top toolbar, this opens up your trends screen where you can look at different trends to share with your people or social media or whatever. Or if you're sending out like a market update, you can select and personalize the area over here all the way down to the zip code and type of property. So if we were like, man, I just want Solano County. Oh, Evelyn's back. I thought we lost you forever.
I'm so sorry, my cell phone died.
Totally okay. I was like, oh, I went over. I lost her.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
You
you're
should
fine.
you should always plug your phones in when Amy's doing a Zoom.
I know, right? It's because I'm trying to do all that stuff in my computer, so I put the Zoom meeting on the phone.
You know, one time they warned me my computer was dying during a Zoom meeting because they could see what my charge was at because I was sharing my screen. And they're like, Amy, you're gonna die. I was like, no, it's okay, I'll make it. And then like I was getting close to the end, but my computer died. So then it was just the end. Anyways, there we go. So I selected Vacaville in the cities. And then I want all single family residences here in this section. And then you can toggle on, oh, we need to hit update, show chart. Go down to the bottom after you change anything, hit show chart. And now it's going to show us these graphs just for Vacaville, just to make it easy. This first graph is our for sale versus sold. So these are the properties that are for sale versus sold. And it also has the pendant. So for sale, sold, and pendant here. And it's got the graph as well as it's got the numbers down here. And you can toggle in this graph to different things. So you can go for sale, sold, newly listed. We want, let's see, pendant, newly listed, sold, newly listed. So all the properties that were newly listed and those that sold. So our newly listed properties are here and how many properties sold is here. So like in the month of December, it was 74 and 30. The cool thing about this is that you can change this time frame to see what it looks like over time because the real estate market is cyclical. So this just goes back just a little over a year. But down here towards the bottom, we could say, hey, we want the last, let's go the last 3 years. And then we're going to hit show chart. And now instead of 1 year's worth of data, it's going to show us 3 years worth of data here. Oh my gosh, look at that line. Doesn't it look very similar? But look at this, all of a sudden we have no buyers. So sad, but it's cyclical dip. So what's going to happen is they're going to keep dropping or circle back up again. We'll have to wait and see. So super cool there. You can also, there's lots of other options here. The average price per square foot, right? So here, and this is cyclical data over time. So it's come down a little bit, but not much. Days on market versus is your sold original listing price. So this is your average days on market. And this is your sold as a percentage of the listing price. And again, there's drop down, so you can change that up. So we could go, oh, I just want average days on market. Right? Oh, look at that. And then you know what you can do. And then there's like average price for sale versus sold, months of inventory. Months of inventory is a good one because it'll show you based on closed sales, the months of inventory, based on pending sales, you know, so there's lots of different options. You can save this graph by hitting the little save button here. And then it'll save it as like a PNG file. So, right, so you can put that onto your newsletter or whatever you might want to use there and hit save. You can go post to web. and it'll give you, we hit continue to template standard expiration, no expiration. We hit preview. Now it's going to give us this that we can, that's what it's going to look like. And then it's going to give us HTML code for that, which means that you can post that on your website. And because we said it wouldn't expire, it's going to keep it updated as new information is published. So there's your HTML code or a link. So there's some cool ways to share these graphs. So you can go in there and find that for all the counties, cities, whatever you want, areas, and it'll give you both this graph here and the actual visual graph. So that's kind of a cool way to pull stats as well if you need to provide those for, like if you're trying to figure out, well, how do people get those stats they post on the web, like new sales or properties sold? You can pull it right from this right here. Okay, so that, because I think Evelyn missed it, we just went right here to trends.
That's so cool.
Okay, so we covered searches, we covered trends, we covered carts and contacts, and admin. We did not dive into listing, which is how you enter your listing. We'll talk about that when we talk about listing properties inside of Rev Up. And then we also didn't talk about tax. So I'll just click on it. This brings up Realist for you. Oh, that's another little thing I can show you. We'll do that briefly. But this pulls up like the tax information. Let's see here.
Which was really super helpful when I did my deal because on the listing it didn't have the right person because of the taxes. Because it was quick of a close.
Yes. So we'll come back to that. I don't have a listing. I need to select the listing. So give me a minute and we'll come back to that. If you come into the MLS and you select the listing, so you know, if we scroll down here, it'll give us the APN number. If you click on the APN number, it'll pull up the tax roll for you. So from here, you can see who the owner is on the property and all the details for the property as well as tax amounts and everything else. This is a good way to see what assessments are on the taxes. It usually kind of shows you, you can figure that out from there. And then transaction history. From here, you can also launch Realist, which is where we were just at. So if I had a property address, I could have searched by property address, but I failed to have a property address. So here is the same way to do that. I would have searched by this property address, which is 1146 Huron. And this is the details that it would have pulled up from that tax button on BAREIS. So this gives me my tax data, characteristics of the property, right? So this is what we just saw on the last screen. It'll pull up comparables, market trends, market overview for that part of Fairfield, right? Closed sales, median sales, active sales, days to contract, right? Sales price. So you've got a bunch of graphs and different things you can have in here, which might help you like on a listing appointment. You can also pull up the neighbors. Super handy. There's the neighbors. And it's going to give you their readout down below, which we're not going to pull up because we don't want to get my video flagged again, get it taken off. But that would be how you do that. You can get your neighborhood profile. So there's lots of really handy stuff in here besides just who's on the property as the owner of the property, right? Single, married, male, female, age, estimated population, number of households. So super cool stats in there. You've got, this is the assessor's map. You can download it. So that gives you your plot map, or you've got your flood map as well to see if it's in a flood zone. So that's all from Realist. So flood determination is it's out, it's safe. Okay. Hazards and risks. Oh, that you have to pay for. So just ignore that hazards and risk file, but everything else is free. So super cool there. So that's under Realist. Or you can access it through, so you can either access it from up here under tax, or you can come down and click on the APN number and then go Realist from the property. There is your complete overview of BAREIS. Is there anything else you'd like to see or know how to do?
No,
Nope, I'm
that's,
good.
thank you. I was wondering about those charts.
There you go.
Now I know.
I just had a panic attack because I forgot Abby was on with us tonight. And I was like, I didn't hit record. Thank goodness Abby is here. So anyways, so there you go. Now you know how to open up another window. You know how to do it all. And then as we move along in the training, I'll show you how to do a CMA report as well. Those are a little more complicated, but I'll show you how to set that up.
Thank you, Amy.
You are welcome.
Do you have
I
a
hope
good trip?
What?
You have a good trip?
Yes, I did have a good trip. I would prefer to stay home, but Utah was fun.
I'm glad you had fun.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow at 11 for, I think we're talking about working with buyers. And then we'll be back on Thursday at 4 o'clock where we dive into zip forms and how to log into there and create transactions and templates and all sorts of fun things inside of zip forms.
Thank you so much, Amy. You're amazing.
Thank you. Amy.
You're
Have a good night.
welcome. You're welcome. Have a fabulous evening, everyone.
You too.
too.
Thank you. Stay warm.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.